On the day of my mate bonding ceremony, my parents suddenly brought my mate home and told me that the mate bonding ritual would be with someone else.
Your sister was poisoned by wolf-bake. There's no cure, and her final wish is to bond with David.
You're her older sister. Can't you do this one thing for her?
My mate also tried to persuade me.
Don't worry. It's just a formality. After she dies, we'll still be each other's one and only.
Still, I refused.
We'll untie you once the ceremony goes smoothly.
But soon after they left, I was attacked by a vicious rogue wolf. My soul drifted unconsciously into the chapel, staring blankly as my mate stood on stage, sealing their mate bond with someone else. In the romantic venue, all eyes were fixed on the couple at the altar. My sister Laura was wearing the gown I had meticulously hand-sewn. She recited her vows to my mate David, with tears in her eyes and a voice full of love. Below the platform, my parents dabbed at the corners of their eyes filled with tears of joy.
Our sweet Laura is finally with the love of her life.
She finally got her wish.
The crowd clapped and smiled as the happy couple shared stories of their fairy tale romance. What destined encounter and unbreakable bond were they talking about? In all their memories, I simply never existed. It was as if I'd always just been invisible. The gown I'd stitched with all my heart, tailored to cinch my waist perfectly now, hung perfectly on Laura, like it had been made just for her. I floated above them, my heart turned to ash. From the moment David proposed this ceremony, I was never meant to be his bride. Now it all made sense why David never cared about the planning. It also made sense why he had always been smiling at his phone while ignoring my calls. However, what I still couldn't understand was, why did loving Laura have to come at the cost of destroying me? 3 days ago, I was brutally murdered in the family underground warehouse. Why? I don't understand why. My entire life, I've had to give in to Laura on everything. My parents always loved Laura more, ever since we were kids. Laura got the nice candies and wore the dresses I had wished for. Later, even though they could afford tuition for 2, they paid only for her to go to Lycan Academy.
Eva, you're an adult now.
You should get a job and pay your own way.
Even with all of that, I never thought they would make me give up my mate. When Laura told them a wolf had poisoned her with wolfsbane during a camping trip and didn't have much time left, they didn't hesitate.
Your sister was poisoned by wolf-bake. There's no cure, and her final wish is to bond with David.
You're her older sister. Can't you do this one thing for her?
My mate also tried to persuade me.
Don't worry. It's just a formality. After she dies, we'll still be each other's one and only.
Still, I refused. That was when my parents forced the potion down my throat. I struggled until my wrists bled. But the potion burned through my throat, blocking my mind link inch by inch. I could no longer call for help. I could no longer even reach my wolf. Dad tied my hands behind my back. Mom looked away, as if seeing my pain would make her guilty.
Eva, don't make this harder than it has to be.
We'll untie you once the ceremony goes smoothly.
David stood at the door, his face twisted with guilt, yet he did nothing to stop them.
Eva, just endure it for one day. Laura doesn't have much time left.
I stared at him, the man who once promised to protect me from every injustice. For the first time, I realized his love could stand aside and watch me be destroyed. Then they dragged me into the family underground warehouse. The last thing I saw was the mine door closing. And then, in the dark, something growled. Someone? Help, please! However, the only thing that came was a stray wolf, fierce and menacing as ever. The rogue wolf moved toward me slowly. I thought of the baby inside me. I'm sorry, my baby. I had wanted to tell David about the pregnancy at our mate bonding ceremony. Tears slid down from the corners of my eyes. My entire life has been utterly absurd. My parents loved Laura, and the one I loved loved Laura too. At the same time, in the chapel, David was placing his hand over Laura's.
I vow to love you as my mate.
I vowed to protect you.
The crowd cheered, and I died in silence. Their ceremony went off without a hitch, and all I could do was watch. They went to the northern mountains for their honeymoon as I floated silently behind them. At the foot of the northern mountains, they strolled hand in hand across the snowy fields. Golden sunlight bathed them in a soft, warm glow. Laura wrapped her arms around David's neck, and the two of them kissed tenderly. Tourists nearby snapped photos and praised them for being such a beautiful couple.
They look perfect together.
Even my usually conservative parents smiled and cheered them on from the sidelines. They had long forgotten that my body was still left abandoned in the warehouse. No one could hear my desperate cry. So, who would care about getting justice for me?
David, do you think my sister is mad at me?
She hasn't called. Laura leaned against David's chest, faking a weary as she asked. David gently stroked her hair.
No way. She's your sister. And with the Wolfie bath in your system,
he gazed at her intently.
This was your only shot. Eva's not unreasonable. I'll be nicer to her from now on. That's all.
Laura gave a nod, her eyes instantly regaining their shine. She grabbed his arm and joined Mom and Dad as they boarded the helicopter to enjoy an aerial view of the snowy mountains. That flight, costing tens of thousands of dollars for a single experience, was more than I could earn in a year. However, Laura could enjoy it without the slightest guilt. After the trip, they treated themselves to a luxurious dinner. I floated behind them in silence as they checked in at hotel, the most extravagant hotel in the werewolf pack. Laura slipped into a revealing nightgown and climbed into bed next to David, reaching for his robe. However, he gently pushed her hand away. He walked over to the floor-to-ceiling window, staring at the snowy mountains in the distance as he drank in silence. His eyes were dark and troubled. I turned and drifted into my parents' room. They were lying against the headboard in bed. Dad sighed, shaking his head while Mom massaged her temples. Normally, they'd be fast asleep by now. My mom pulled out her phone and tried calling me.
Eva.
However, all she got was a busy tone, their faces twisted in confusion, anxiety flickering in their eyes. It never failed to work. All they had to do was take the first step and reach out, and I'd cave every time. This time, no one was on the other end of the call, eagerly calling them Mom and Dad. Mom looked at Dad with a worried expression.
Honey, Laura's not exactly the sharpest at work, so why do you keep spoiling her?
I also want to know why.
When we're gone, she'll burn through the family's fortune in no time. I really thought we could count on Eva to take care of us when we're old.
So, in their eyes, am I nothing more than a caregiver who will look after them when they grow old? Even though, deep down, I had long harbored a vague awareness of it all, I still couldn't help but feel a pang of sadness.
But she didn't answer just now. You don't think she's actually mad at us, do you?
For giving her life, she owes us everything. And Laura was dying. As her older sister, she should be happy to help. What right does she have to be upset? Honestly, we've been too soft on her lately. She's forgetting her place.
I listened to those words in silence, my eyes burning. At that moment, I was relieved I was dead. I was dead. My parents no longer have to look at me with disdain. I was dead. I no longer have to make concessions for Laura. I was dead. Laura and David, perhaps. They will be happy?